I find a lot of things interesting. There's a lot of stuff that I'm just really sort of fascinated by. And so one of the things that's really sort of shaped my horror writing is bringing in my background with Shakespeare. If you read Shakespeare's plays, there's some crazy stuff that happens in there, and some of the nuttiest deaths you can ever imagine. And then when you get past Shakespeare, the other guys from the English Renaissance, guys like John Webster, John Ford, they're coming up with crazy things that are, not under copyright, so you can totally steal good ideas from them.
Goes, what were a couple of your favorite ways that Shakespeare got rid of somebody?
Drowned in a butt of wine is a good one from Richard III. There's the implied death of Exit pursued by a bear. In some ways, Titus Andronicus gives you a whole bunch of nutty and bloody ideas, as does Macbeth. When you get outside of Shakespeare and you get into things like Christopher Marlowe's Edward II, where Edward is killed by a red-hot poker being rammed up his rectum. Oh, good Lord, who is it? Cyril Tourneure's The Atheist Tragedy, where revenge tragedy gets so crazy that by the end, the revenger doesn't even need to seek revenge anymore. In a play called The Atheist Tragedy, the atheist is this king who's like killing everybody, and he lifts up an axe to execute this guy and is suddenly struck numb, and the stage direction reads something along the lines of, "He droppeth the axe so it cutteth off his own head." I just sit there going, how the heck do you stage that? So I want to do that play. There's also Beaumont and Fletcher write a whole bunch of really sick plays, like The Second Maiden's Tragedy, where the king is engaged to be married to this woman and make him her queen, and a close friend of his overthrows him, not because he wants to be king, but because he wants to marry this woman and make her his queen, and she doesn't want to marry the new tyrant, so she kills herself, and the tyrant says, look, just because she's dead doesn't mean she can't be the queen and my lover. And instead of the court freaking out, everyone's like, well, that makes sense. And so the old king then disguises himself as a mortician, shows up and says, I have makeup that'll make her appear totally lifelike when you're doing it with her. And the tyrant is like, not recognizing the guy, is like, oh yeah, do that, that's really cool. And so he puts poison makeup all over her body, and as the tyrant begins to make love to her, he bursts into flame and is consumed and died, and everyone's like, well, we're glad that jerk's dead, and let's bury this woman now. And the old king, who's now the new king, says, why would we bury her? She can be my queen now. And everyone's like, this is weird now. So, when you start getting into Jacobean drama, these plays that were written between 1603 and 1625, some of them are just sick and absolutely wonderful.